Welcome to another episode of Crypto TV. I'm your host, Ornella Hernandez, here to talk all things Web3 and crypto. It is the second week of 2024, and boy, do I have a lot of predictions about this coming year to share with you, so stay tuned. There's never a dull moment in the tech world. Innovation is constant, and we're always expecting bigger and better things when it comes to the world of emerging technology. So this year is no different. From NFTs to gaming to artificial intelligence tools, we're all wondering what will happen in 2024. Well, I'm going to share what some of the experts have to say and sprinkle in a few of my own predictions in there. We also have a special guest coming on to Crypto TV to talk about his views. So let's get started. Predictions for 2024. I say that 2024 is going to be a terrific year for tech because even though crypto got hit by a full frontal attack from the US regulators and lawmakers in 2023, it was luckily able to hold its ground. And innovation never waits for rules and regulations. So I'm saying that 2024 will be the year that US regulators and lawmakers finally come to terms with Web3. Well, I hope. But blockchain tech still needs to catch on with people outside of the industry. Think about artificial intelligence. It's been decades. It's been around for ages. But when did everyone start talking about it? When ChatGPT came out. That's when developers can use it to help them code. When analysts could use it to help them break down data sets. When students can use it for educational texts, and I can use it to draft text as well. This put AI on the map, and well, it is on its way to hitting mainstream adoption, I'd say. Heck, I even interviewed a robot, or a humanoid to be exact, in 2023. So I'd say AI had its moment. Now it's blockchain's turn. Blockchain tech still needs a ChatGPT moment. I'm not sure what that might be though. Likely a decentralized application, a dApp for crypto that everyone can use, I don't know. Or maybe it's up to artificial intelligence to help Web3 become more usable and mainstream. So no more I'm Team AI or I'm Team Web3. No, we're on the same team here, people. The tech team. Now, I know AI might seem a little scary and untrustworthy, but Web3 can actually help us to trust AI tools. At least when it comes to verifying AI-generated content. Blockchain tech can track the origin of verifying sources too. So I think both bands need to work together more if we want a better and more ethical evolution of the internet. Now, of course, with tech and innovation comes the need for money. And that depends on if venture capital investing grows this year. So VCs invested $10.7 billion into crypto and blockchain companies in 2023. And sure, that's down from 68% in 2022, but I think we can all agree that one can do a lot with $10.7 billion. So now in 2024, we'll see if we can grow this number. Maybe it won't though. Maybe limited partners, those who provide the money to venture capital firms, are still being cautious with their funds coming out of the bear market. So it could be that VCs continue to struggle to raise funds, or they scale back, or they even shut down completely. These are just potential scenarios. I wonder if 2024 will be the year when venture funds reset and start spending like crazy again. Who knows? Why don't we see what the investors with a lot of money are looking at next? Starting with Bitwise Asset Management firm. They published 10 predictions back in December. I'll read out a few. Bitcoin will climb above $80,000, hitting a new all-time high. More money will settle using stable coins than with Visa. A major upgrade to Ethereum will drive the average transaction cost below 0.1 cents. Wall Street will start to tokenize real-world assets. Taylor Swift will launch NFTs to connect with fans in new ways. Spot Bitcoin ETFs will be approved, and it will be the most successful ETF launch in history. And prediction markets will be the new killer app for crypto. So maybe that will be the ChatGPT moment for crypto, a predictions app, because people love to speculate and say that they know what is going to happen, don't they? Well, Bitcoin going to 80K would be amazing, folks. And Taylor Swift coming up with an NFT collection would be interesting. Now, I don't personally love her too much, sorry for the Swifties out there, but I do recognize how this could be huge, especially for making NFT tech mainstream, having a major brand like Taylor behind it. And like we were talking about before, brands, including Taylor, can do so much more when it comes to leveraging NFT tech. They can use NFTs to represent and reinforce customer identity and community affiliations and loyalty, bridge physical goods with their digital counterparts, and even co-create new products and experiences with the fans. And while we're on the topic of NFTs, can I just point out to anyone who thinks that NFTs are dead that they aren't, and that they have just simply moved blockchains. Historically, most of the NFT action has happened on Ethereum, but today, a lot of the NFT action is happening on Bitcoin and Solana chains. So this next cycle is looking increasingly multi-chain. And while a few blue chip NFT collections like Bored Ape Yacht Club, for example, will remain on Ethereum, the average trader probably won't want to deal with Ethereum's high gas fees and might look at other, cheaper chains. Now let's go to Coinbase's 2024 crypto market outlook. The exchange says that institutional crypto adoption will accelerate in 2024 and that institutional flows will provide a favorable macro tailwind for risk assets, and perhaps more critically, that the foundations for crypto regulation will continue to be built, facilitating long-term adoption, and that investors will mainly focus on BTC for the first half of the year. They also stated that decentralized applications, or dApps, will pursue a gasless transactions path because people are tired of paying high gas, while developers will continue building towards real-world use cases with better user experiences. Good, because we need better user experiences. And finally, I also looked at the A16Z crypto reports on a few things that they're excited about in crypto for this year, including what we just mentioned, a dramatic improvement in user experience, or what they called resetting the UX of the future. They stated that the fundamentals of user experience in crypto haven't actually changed much since 2016. It's still too complicated. What with self-custodying secret keys and connecting wallets with dApps and sending signed transactions into increasingly many network endpoints, it's just more than what we can expect users to learn in just a few minutes. And it's true, it's hard to figure out all this out on one's own without someone helping them. And the complexity of it all deters a lot of people from trying things out in the first place. Next, A16Z is also hoping that AI and blockchain tech will come together. But in order for that to happen, there needs to be a way to figure out how to decentralize generative AI and how to govern it democratically so that no one actor ends up with all the power. And they think that Web3 is a laboratory for figuring it out. A natural fit for how these two come together is gaming, I think. Partners at the firm believe that in 2024 we'll see the first cohort of AI-first games, video games, from creators leveraging AI to reinvent the nature of games entirely. Creating never-ending games, as they call it, that engage and retain users for longer periods of time. So if AI can reduce the cost and time of creating games and experiences, then Web3 will change the way that gamers engage with the virtual items that they buy in-game. So while each wave of Web3 has been propelled by a major use case, first it was NFTs, then DeFi and Metaverse, the next major consumer wave will come from fun, mainstream games that allow gamers to be compensated for all the time that they put into it. So yeah, it's basically play and earn, because you can't say play to earn anymore in this industry. And it means that a new crop of games in general, just fun video games, will pop up this year. All right, so now to talk about gaming and AI and Metaverse trends even more, we have a special guest coming on CryptoTV, so stay tuned. We are here with Samuel Huber, my special guest. He is the CEO of Landvault. How are you today?
Very good. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for joining me. It's 2024. How has the new year been treating you so far?
It's been, only a few days, but I'm very excited by the year. I think this is going to be a big year for everything that we do, for technology in general, for blockchain. So very excited. I think building on the foundation of 2023 to have a very strong year.
Yes, definitely. So since today's show is all about predictions, I wanted to get your take before we get into Landvault and what you do on what the buzz movement of this year might be. So I think in 2021, NFTs were the thing. 2022, I'd say Metaverse. 2023, artificial intelligence, AI. So what's it going to be in 2024?
I think it's going to be a little different in 2024, where we're going to think more about the use cases of those various technologies as opposed to just the hype around it. AI, blockchain, game technologies, they're really all going to converge to create this new digital reality, which is the fabric of the metaverse.
Okay.
And I can see that there's more and more use cases now that we are kind of past the peak of this crazy expectations. We're going down a little bit in the hype. I think it's going to be the same for AI even, where we're going to talk about it a little bit less. There's going to be less craziness around investment, but we're actually going to have real use cases, real companies that are building proper things on top of that.
Okay, so a convergence of all emerging tech, AI, blockchain and Web3, gaming. So what is that link? What is it that connects all of these fields?
It's more that they can work together and reinforce each other. For example, if you think about one of the main challenge right now with virtual worlds and metaverse is that it's still very expensive and it takes a long time to build an amazing experience. Well, generative AI can come in to cut the time and the cost that it takes by about a factor of 100. So this is going to be a major catalyst in propelling those technology into the mainstream. So that's just one example of how generative AI coupled with real-time 3D technologies is actually going to help accelerate the metaverse. Then you have blockchain, which gives it a different financial backbone, and you can see that all these technologies really evolve to give way to this new digital reality that we are so excited about. At least I am.
Yes, no, me too. All right, so then how is Landvault leveraging all this tech? If you could just give us a brief overview of what Landvault is. I know you have been on the show a few times, but for those out there that don't know what it is, can you explain what you do?
So we basically are an enterprise solution, and we help big companies, brands, and even governments get into this new digital reality by building metaverse worlds for them. And that involves different pillars. So there is tools that we use to create experiences faster for them. So very quickly they can come up and parameter their own virtual worlds. We're then able to deploy that on local servers, whether you're in the UAE, in the US, or in Saudi, we can do that. Then we have all the tools to then monetize those experiences through e-commerce or through advertising, for example. So if you put it all together, we really give them a 360 offering that helps them create their virtual world, deploy it, and turn it into a successful business. Okay,
so do you think we are going to spend more time than we already do in virtual worlds this year and in the future?
I think if you look at the evolution of gaming, it's now we are reaching about 3 billion people that are playing games every single day. Together, they generate about $200 billion in spending in those virtual worlds.
Right.
So we are already spending a lot of time in those virtual worlds. And with the evolution of these technologies, making it simpler and faster and cheaper to build those virtual worlds every day, it's just going to accelerate that trend even further. So initially, we saw that most of the use cases for virtual worlds were about games. But now we're starting to see use cases beyond games, like virtual concerts, for example, as we've seen over the past few years, or
but is that
shopping
really
experiences.
Catching on? Like, I feel like we're still in the early stages of that. Like, it's going to take not just 1 year, but many, many years for it to be a normalized activity.
So far, it's mainly outliers, for sure. They were first events, first of their kind, but 30 million people attended that concert in fortnight, and this has been repeated multiple times. So I think if you look at the evolution of the internet, it's always been more and more immersive. We started with mainly text web pages, then we introduced pictures, then most of the consumed format right now is videos. The next logical step is to be able to, in a way, step inside that video, which is what a 3D experience is all about, to make it more immersive and more natural. So that transition, that evolution, is really nothing new and nothing we can stop. We've always tried to tell better stories and have formats that we can use that are more immersive and more natural.
Yeah, I guess it is all about the storytelling. All right, so you mentioned the evolution of the internet. I know you also like to use the term the 3D internet. So what exactly is the 3D internet? Explain it to your mother. And where are we at in the evolution of the internet, in its timeline and progression?
So since the internet was invented in the late 80s, actually, initially it was just a way to communicate between two servers, and this was mainly used for universities to share data. And then the web in the early 90s gave it an interface and a simple way to browse, so everyone could actually access this data. And then we went from Web 1, which was those brochure type of website that you couldn't really interact with, to Web 2, social media, where you can now read and write. And the Web 3, the common definition is that you can read, write, but also own part of the content using the blockchain. And then if you layer on top of that 3D experiences that are powered by gaming, you have an even more immersive experience and immersive format. So we basically went from, like I said, from text to images to videos, and now the ultimate way to tell a story or to be immersed into an experience will be those 3D experiences that you can navigate yourself. So that's the natural evolution of media. And of course, this is now being layered on top of the internet with new technologies that are making all of that possible, that are making it really simple to create content, to publish it. And this is what we do at Landvault.
Okay, so tell me about some business model, or your business model, I guess, now for this year, and what you are expecting for Landvault in terms of maybe new clients or new projects that you're working on, so you can give us just some more examples of use cases.
Yeah, so we work a lot with government entities here, or government-related institutions. We work with the Formula One track in Abu Dhabi, for example. We also work with the DMCC. We work with a lot of those institutions that are looking at the Dubai Metaverse Strategy or the general UAE Metaverse Strategy, and that are trying to digitalize their services as a way to promote them to more people. So generally what we tap into are those marketing budgets. This is yet another way for those institutions to promote their infrastructure, their services, their events, and so on. And so this is what we're building. There's different use cases. Of course, we have offices and law firms that are looking for onboarding experience for their staff. So every time they have a new starter, they can put them in this really immersive experience and have the chairman saying welcome words, where you cannot maybe do that in person. And then you can converse with AI that helps you find your marks in the company. That's one example. We have much more consumer-focused experiences with the Formula One example, for example, which is...
What did you do for them?
Well, the idea here was to create a digital twin of the track. On top of which you can now play games, race cars, and eventually you'll be able to race against the real drivers.
Cool.
So you'll have the data of the real drivers, and you'll be able to play a game against them by racing virtually on top of the track.
So where could you play this game? What
You can play it on your phone.
Okay.
This was a really easy to access experience that is just accessible anywhere on the web. So you can access it from your desktop, you can access it from your phone, and it's just a game that you can play, but it takes place on top of this digital twin of the track. So this is just one example of how physical infrastructure is getting digitalized into those metaverse experiences.
Okay, I see. And so why do you think the UAE government and governments in the region are so gung-ho about this technology and they're going all in on creating new virtual experiences for tourists, for its own citizens and residents?
I think it all comes down to their general strategy as a country, right? We've seen that the countries and Dubai, UAE, but also Saudi, they're really pushing to be seen as the place to be. They're very good at marketing, and part of that is to attract talent. The universities here are really developing, but a lot of the tech talent is still imported, coming from overseas. And this is very important for the countries here who are trying to diversify their economy and having an economy driven by technology. And so the best way to promote the country, promote all this amazing infrastructure that we can see in the physical world, is to bring them to life in the digital world, so billions of people who are not here can experience this in the best, most natural possible way.
Okay.
So again, this is all part of their marketing plans to really promote the country, show the country under the best possible light. And there's so many amazing experiences here that you can do in the real world, that bringing that into the digital world is a great way for them to get more exposure to it.
Definitely. Okay, so the motivating force driver, like you said, is still about marketing. I think that was the main force behind a lot of major brands who got into metaverse platforms, right? We had in the Sandbox or in the Decentraland, we had fashion brands. You had
Adidas, Gucci,
sports companies that were just trying to really market and promote their brand, I guess, in a way. So that's still a main.
I think it's a little different. A lot of those brands were really focused on one campaign and being able to say, we're in the metaverse, look at us, we're the first fashion brand, the first food brand, the first whatever brand. This was really more of a positioning and taking advantage of the hype. Whereas here we're looking at long-term use cases. The Metaverse Strategy for Dubai is 2030. The metaverse needs to generate 4 billion a year and 40,000 people need to be employed. This is all public on the government website. Everyone can see it. This is a public vision that they have. And so now they're kind of working backwards from there. What do we need to do this year, next year, the year after? And as I said before, in 2023, I just moved here in February, so kind of caught that early part of the wave. Yeah. And this was really a year of learning, where a lot of those government officials were really trying to see who are the different suppliers, what can people do, what are the use cases that we can create. This was very much a discovery year. In Q4, we started to see the space professionalizing a lot with RFPs and tenders, actually looking for suppliers to deliver projects. And so 2024 is really going to be the year of the use case, where the first projects are going to be implemented on a small to mid scale, to prove to the stakeholders, like, yes, there is a future building those virtual worlds. It actually can contribute to our business. It can help us market the service that we're trying to market. And I think 2025, 2026 is really when we're going to start scaling those things to reach the vision that has been set at the country level by 2030. So again, a very exciting path, but much more long-term than what we have seen previously.
Right. It's going to take time. All right. But to build all of these activations, you need money and capital. So VC investment has been down because of the bear market. Do you think it will continue to be quiet this year, or will it pick up?
I think this year is still not going to be the year where we're going to see another VC boom, where everyone will be able to raise huge amounts of money at huge valuations. So if you have a startup, this is probably not the year where you triple your valuation. But I think the VCs still have a lot of capital that is not deployed, and they are looking for great companies. So if you're actually building something great with a real use case, you will be able to get funding. So again, it's going to be a year where the metrics for success are a little bit different than what it used to be during the bull market. Yeah. VCs are really rewarding profitability, efficiency, see how much you're spending and how efficient you are with your capital so that you can build a real business and not just something based on hype.
Okay. Any more advice for founders out there like yourself?
Well, I think if you're building in 2024, it's really about focusing on the metrics that I mentioned. Try to really focus on building a real business. Try to find real customers that are paying for your service or for your product, and focus on efficiency, be as diligent as possible with capital, and overall try to build real use cases to really advance what we're trying to do.
Yeah. We always talk about we need more use cases, more utility, more accessibility, but I feel like at least when it comes to blockchain tech in general, and especially their metaverse, there hasn't been it hasn't had its ChatGPT moment, which is what I like to call it. Like there hasn't been one app or one thing that has really streamlined that adoption. Do you think, what do you think that might be for the metaverse? What's it gonna take for it to for everyone to stop questioning so much what it is?
I think it needs to be something that actually delivers value for people, and that's something that you again use without really thinking about it. And again, if you look at the facts, right, gaming has been that for a lot of people. Okay. Now, not everyone's a gamer, but there's about 10 times more gamers than there were 20 years ago, where you had to have a console. So the definition of gaming has changed. There's a lot of casual gamers, people just spending time in virtual environments to hang out with their friends, like people do in Fortnite, which is really becoming almost a new social network for Gen Z and Gen Alpha. And I think, it's not just about finding a use case that suddenly would get everyone in the virtual world, including our parents and our grandparents. This is also a generational thing, where as this generation evolves, they will keep with the habits that they currently have. And so for them, it's going to be a lot more natural as they grow from 16 to 20 to 25 to 30 to get onboarded for their job in a virtual world, because they grew up playing video games. And when the time is right, having a chat with their kids as avatars would be more natural to them than it is for our parents.
That's weird.
So it's also a generational thing where more and more, we know how to use videos. Our grandparents didn't really know how to use videos. It's just part of this generational shift. And I think the new generation will be fully embedded into those 3D worlds. And the real convergence here is that there will be less and less difference between our physical existence and our digital existence.
Okay, so I guess it's more about the little things and our daily activities being more immersive in a way. Do you want to live in that sort of world where everything's technologically enabled?
I think this is not really up to me, and we are going into that direction anyway. We're spending hours and hours on our phones, on our computers. We can't really work without technology anymore. Yeah. When our phones run out of battery, it's like the worst thing that can happen. We don't know how to move around. We don't have directions. We don't have Uber. So we are already augmented by technology. And I think what AI can do is take this to the next level, but also make this an even more natural way where maybe you don't need the device eventually. And we are merging with our tools, right? It's what they say. Initially, we make our tools, and then our tools shape us. And this has already happened with the phones. So I don't think that we are necessarily saying that we want to live in a more digital environment, but this is happening no matter what. And I think more and more we'll see that the two worlds are going to converge.
Okay, and what about when it comes to AI? Are you worried about robots and humanoids taking over ever?
I think the current challenge with AI is not that. This is more for the science fiction, but the centralization of power, to have huge companies that control all of our AI models, that could be a big risk.
Okay.
And we've seen how OpenAI, which was initially set up to be open source, now effectively controlled by Microsoft and Google and Amazon, making big plays. So I think with AI, because it's so expensive to train those large models, at least in the current configuration of those LLMs, it's going to be really difficult for startups and even really well-funded startups to be competitive. Okay. And I think actually this might just reinforce the status quo. But we'll see. To me, this is the biggest risk. It's not really about AI. Robots walking in and trying to take your job. I think you're safe on that front. but it's more about who actually controls all of those models and where is the value being created.
Okay, all right, I see. And so then let's just to wrap up, give me one or two more predictions that you have for the rest of 2024 when it comes to NFTs.
NFTs, I think NFTs are going to follow the trends that I mentioned, which is that if you are building an NFT collection and it's just and there's not utility to it, if it's just collectible, I think those collections are running out of momentum. There is obviously a few really iconic ones that could do well.
Yeah,
but
the blue chip collections.
The blue chip collections, because they are actually arts, and they've had some track record of having some great collectors. But I think it's going to be really difficult to break into that space now. I think again, NFT is a technology that should really become part of our daily lives on the internet. It's just a way to secure digital assets in a way. And so I think what we're going to see over the next couple of years is some of these technologies actually being talked about less, because it's just going to become part of the fabric of this digital world.
Yeah, makes sense. No, I think brands can also definitely leverage the NFT technology a lot more than they're doing now. So hopefully we see that this year. And what about for the market itself? Where do you see Bitcoin?
That's not going to make a price prediction, but I think overall there's some good momentum, and all of these things are connected. So based on what happens with the ETF, and there's different really landmark moments that could, I think, change the trajectory of the price for this year. But overall, I think this is all good for adoption. And again, I'm looking forward to speak less about the technology and to speak more about the use cases. I think this is going to be what 2024 is all about.
Okay, amazing. Well, I'll have you on at a later date to talk more about those use cases.
Looking forward to it.
Thank you so much for your time, Sam.
Thanks for having me.
And everyone, thank you for tuning in, but also make sure to check out other interviews that I have done with Sam, including a Web3 Talks episode. I'll put the link in the description below. And please stay tuned for the rest of CryptoTV.
BTC is up thanks to the SEC's approval of spot BTC ETF proposals, trading just above $47,000. Ether is rallying as well, trading at a price of $2,647 today. Atom by Cosmos is trading green currently at $10.84. And AVAX by Avalanche has a price of $39.32.
And that is all for today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Let me know what you think will happen in 2024. And if you're interested in learning more about Sam and Landvault, make sure to check out his website and his social media channels. Well, I will see you guys later.